In a remote corner of New England stands an ominous relic from the Cold War. This radar station once scanned the skies under the threat of nuclear war and was the location of multiple UFO sightings, tracking an unknown object the same night as the first reported alien abduction in the country. Now overtaken by nature and decay, it was recently the campsite for me and a group of friends as we explored the abandoned history of North Concord Air Force Station. My friend Alex recently invited me to explore and camp out at an abandoned radar base in northeast Vermont.
I mean, I've looked for a lot of different locations across North America. This might be one of the coolest, just simply the position.
We're in the most remote part of Vermont, basically.
The radar station is situated on top of a mountain and currently only accessible with a 9-mile hike along the appropriately named Radar Road. I had never heard of it before, but was eager for the chance to explore and learn about this piece of abandoned history. North Concord Air Force Station was later called Lyndonville Air Force Station and operated from 1956 to 1963, during the height of the Cold War.
Most thinking Americans now recognize the fact that our country is at war. A war declared against us by the rulers of international communism. It is called a Cold War because armed forces, although used as a threat, are rarely unleashed.
Although direct conflict with the Soviet Union was avoided, numerous proxy wars kept tensions high, and fears of an attack even higher. North Concord Air Force Station was part of an array of radar stations situated around the country to warn of the communist threat.
Radar works because radio energy transmitted outward from an antenna will be reflected or echoed back by obstacles encountered in its path.
North Concord saw several upgrades to the radar during its lifetime, until its closure in 1963. There were few signs of structures along the hike, until we were about 2 miles or so from the top. Here lies the ruins of the cantonment area.
I think these are just the barracks, I would assume.
Yeah, looks like it. They're kind of weird looking.
Yeah, they really are.
There was also a dining hall, a recreation hall, auto maintenance, and other support buildings. Several buildings are still intact. Others are collapsing, and for some, only the concrete pad where they once stood remains. Given the state of decay, it's hard to imagine what this area might have looked like bustling with activity more than 60 years ago. I've read reports stating more than 160 airmen were assigned here. Another report I read comes from Project Blue Book, the Air Force investigation into unidentified flying objects. On August 4th, 1960, one of the airmen saw a circular object about the size of a basketball flying over the mess hall. After a minute of observation, the object vanished, as if a light turned off. The radar maintenance officer suggested it was a man-made object with a contrail. Project Blue Book speculates that it was a meteor, and the observation time was overestimated. Regardless of what it was, I imagine that at the height of the Cold War, having unidentifiable objects flying over an Air Force station might induce a state of alarm.
The communist creed calls for hatred, preaching the doctrine of undying hostility between communists and non-communists.
As we continued on from the barracks area, the climb got steeper, and we encountered patches of snow lasting into the spring. Finally, at the top of the mountain, we got our first glimpse of the old radar towers. More than 60 years ago, these hulking metal structures had domes atop them, with radar inside.
The antennas turn within plastic radomes, whose surface is kept free of ice and snow by interior heat lamps.
North Concord Air Force Station started out with only 2 radars, but was expanded over the years to include 5 towers, with only 4 becoming operational before the base's closure. The mountain has an eerie, surreal feeling to it. Steel and concrete sentinels hiding among the pine trees as nature reclaims the summit. As we explored the radar station, my mind wandered, wondering what it looked like in its heyday. These rusted-out buildings must have seemed like a technological marvel when they were full of equipment and personnel.
I want to check this one out.
We headed for the tallest tower, eager to see what the base looked like from above.
Oh, it's dark up here.
Yeah, man.
This is creepy.
Inside the tower was ominous, but our spirits brightened as we neared the top.
Light up there. Come on. There it is. I got it. I can't wait. Oh my God.
The tower offered spectacular views. It's easy to see why the radar was built here. We could easily see into Canada and New Hampshire. After a nice break, we explored the other towers to find a suitable place to set camp for the night.
It's all this one so far. It's been fast. Watch it go. Yeah, this is the one, I think, the camping one.
1, 2, 3. You got it, boys. Pull. Pull. Keep on it. Keep on it. Keep on it.
After hoisting our packs to the top of one of the shorter towers, we began setting up our tents. As we settled into our unorthodox campsite, we once again marveled at the scenery.
Yeah, this is like the coolest spot.
Man.
At one point, Alex pointed out Franconia Notch in New Hampshire. This really put into perspective the second Project Blue Book account I came across, which involved North Concord Radar Station. On September 19th, 1961, at 9:22 p.m., the radar picked up a large aircraft south of the radar station. The object moved erratically for several minutes, then hovered in place for almost 12 minutes before contact was lost. The entire observation lasted a total of 18 minutes, ending at 9:40 p.m. About an hour later, Betty and Barney Hill encountered a UFO 6 miles south of Franconia Notch while driving home from Montreal.
Betty said, "Look, there's a star moving."
The couple claimed the UFO followed their car.
I drive, and Betty is still looking, and she says, "It is still following us." So I search for a place to pull off the road.
The couple observed the UFO through binoculars for several minutes.
What is it?
I just been sitting here feeling that something's going to happen.
They claim they were communicated with telepathically as the object and creatures inside drew closer.
God, I'm scared.
I was afraid when I saw the men on the road. I've never been so afraid in my life.
What do they want? What do they want?
Beings from the UFO abducted them.
They're taking me up to the object. I don't want to go on it.
Performed tests on them.
I don't want to be operated on.
The examiner has a long needle. It's bigger than any needle I've ever seen.
Holy God! God! Oh my God! Give me that! I gotta get away! Oh!
After undergoing tests on board the UFO, the couple were returned to their vehicle.
I opened my eyes, and there is the car.
This had been quite an experience. It was unbelievable. No one would ever believe me.
The story of Betty and Barney Hill is the first reported alien abduction in the country. As Betty said, it is unbelievable. But it is an intriguing coincidence that the North Concord Radar Station tracked an unknown object within an hour of this alleged abduction. It certainly made me keep my eyes on the sky as we camped for the night. We didn't see any UFOs, but we did get a beautiful sunset. And an equally beautiful sunrise the following morning. As we prepared for our hike out, I thought about the resilience of these structures on top of East Mountain. Left abandoned for more than 60 years. Ravaged by time and defaced by vandals, yet they still stand. A proud relic of the Cold War.
Freedom, born of the conviction that every person is a child of God and is therefore of supreme worth for these people, for ourselves, for everyone. We want freedom, not tyranny.
In many ways, it feels like little has changed since this radar station was abandoned. Proxy wars are still being waged, and it's still common to hear false accusations of someone being a Russian or Chinese pawn. Unfortunately, I don't think that will change anytime soon. But it's always interesting finding traces of the present in our abandoned history. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other videos which cover a wide variety of subjects. If you want to keep up with what I'm working on, head over to my website and sign up for my newsletter.